at the age of 3, I had an entity appear at my bed, unlike your negative entities. This man was so profound. I thought he was going to blow the roof off the house. He told me his name was Jesus. And of course, I was in a home that didn't know what that was. We weren't religious on any level. And he said to me, Sandra, you are a child of God and you are love. And you have come here to remind people that is who they are.
Welcome to the Infinite Life with me, your host, Katische Haberfield. This week, I am privileged to have a very special guest, and her name is Dame Sandra Biskind. Now, I'm going to read you her profile, and then I'm going to explain to you how her energy entered my world. So, Dame Sandra Biskind offers a rare combination of business savvy, transformational leadership, and soul enrichment. With her down-to-earth wisdom, coupled with her multi-dimensional gifts, she shares profound, sustainable shifts. Focused on enlightenment, Sandra is committed to working with leaders who are passionate about attaining the next level of enlightened success and making a global impact. Known for solving unsolvable problems, Jack Canfield said, she is a profound healer, trainer, speaker, and author who does some incredible transformational work. I've experienced her work, and I found it truly life-changing. So much I had her work with my entire staff with magical results. She has an amazing ability to shift energy and remove unconscious blocks on a very deep level. Her unconditional love, joy, and radiance fills the room. She is the real deal, and I highly recommend her and her work. And Jack was the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul series and the Success Principles. She is a global visionary and a thought leader and an international speaker, transformational mentor, and #1 best-selling author of 4 books. She was knighted in 2017 for her work to help end suffering. Dame Sandra, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Katische. It's just such an honor to be here with you and your audience.
Thank you. Now, what was really interesting is that I forgot to press record, and I'm going to admit to this because this is an interesting thing. I haven't actually spoken to you for a couple of years. And one of the things that I posted this week on social media was a clip of another person that I've interviewed for this season on love. And he's a Swami in the Bhakti Marga Hindu tradition. And I started off being very nervous around his energy as well. And I said to myself, I'll check the recording. And I actually was recording, and then we made a little joke about how when he forgot to press record. And so I've started talking this episode and I forgot to press record. And what I then just got a flash, an acknowledgement from spirit as I was reading your profile, was that your energy was already removing that template of forgetting to record from my energy field, so it won't happen again. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You came into my world through Facebook, through your weekly meditation sessions. And I remember that was your energy, and understanding energy, and that of your husband, Daniel, was very new to me. I didn't understand how energetics worked. I always thought that you had to be in the same room as somebody to feel their energy. I didn't understand how you could do a meditation and send that energy out to the world. And I also didn't know a number of things, including that when you participated in an energy healing meditation, that you would see the colors behind your eyes changing and shifting as you healed different beliefs that were in what I would call the chakra systems. So thank you for that. That was very eye-opening.
You're welcome. It's really opening up the third eye center, which is your pineal gland. And once that's open, there's a level of joy and love that you won't experience without that being opened.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the second thing that I experienced with both you and Daniel was in the middle of the night, having your presence at the end of my bed. And I remember being incredulous about this because the only things that I'd ever experienced in the middle of the night around my bed were ghosts and negative entities. And so the energy of love was unfamiliar to me in the middle of the night. As a child, I always grew up being very aware of nasty things around me and not having human beings understand the level of fear that was in my life. And to then say to you, Sandra, I think you were at the end of my bed and I could smell your perfume, and then describe it. And you say yes, was like a whole new revelation to me.
Yeah, and this is the thing, Katish, we promise our students that no matter what they're going through, if they need us, we will bilocate into their world. And I have been doing this for decades. I do remember at least, I think 40 years ago, my daddy knocking on my door and saying to me, I think you need me. And I'm going, yeah, why? And he said, oh, because you appeared at the end of my bed at 4 o'clock this morning, so I figured you must need me. And I said, sweetheart, I actually don't, but let's come in, because obviously I was there for you. And then I was able to work with him on what it was that he needed. So yeah, bilocating to where people need us and want us is very normal for us.
And I've never heard of that before. And I was wondering, did you come into this incarnation with that awareness that you were able to do that, or was that a process of your development over your lifetime?
Yeah, look, it was obviously a process of tapping into what I had brought in, because I came here in this specific lifetime to do very specific things. And at the age of 3, I had an entity appear at my bed. Unlike your negative entities, this man was so profound. I thought he was going to blow the roof off the house. He told me his name was Jesus. And of course, I was in a home that didn't know what that was. We weren't religious on any level. And he said to me, Sandra, you are a child of God and you are love, and you have come here to remind people that is who they are. That was a very profound sentence for a 3-year-old. And I do remember going to my mum and saying, what does Jesus talk to you about when you go to bed at night? And she looked at me like in shock, because obviously she didn't know where I got that name from at all. And she regrouped very quickly and said, what does he talk to you about? And then I told her. And it was very interesting, because I said, look, I'm going to be a priest. And she said, no, darling, a priest is Catholic and a man, and you're neither of those things. I didn't know what Catholic was, but I knew I wasn't a man. So the next day I went back to her and said, okay, I'll be a nun, because I thought nuns were women. And she said, darling, don't you want to get married and have babies? I go, yes. She said, well, you can't do that if you're a nun. And I remember, you know how 3-year-olds can do this, put my hands on my hips and looked up at her and said, don't you worry about a thing, Mummy. When I get older, I will work for God. And that was it. That was the whole premise of my life, because I had come here to do that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. And so now I know how that energy was connected to me through Facebook to find you, was because my main person, who I know that you're not allowed to call it so as a spirit guide, my main guide in this lifetime has been Jesus. That was the figure that has always appeared to me when I close my eyes. And that was incidentally somebody who I had to actually do a lot of deep work with to move from a particular lifetime in his incarnation, when we were incarnated together, where I suffered horrendous guilt for the actions that were taken against him as Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And my mind showed it to me as having to go through the eye of the dragon to sit on the edge of the world. And I literally saw myself sitting on the edge of the world with Jesus, having a discussion about, did I put him on the cross myself? No. Right. Did I put the thorn of crowns on his head? No. Did I nail the nails in his hand? No. Then I didn't kill him. I do not need to continue to punish myself. And that was a major thing for me to then be able to move forward, and then now be able to feel and interact with his consciousness in other ways. But now that has also come through now as, okay, he sent me to you. There you go.
Yeah, for sure. And the majority of people that I work with have this connection to divinity, right? And Jesus being one of the most divine beings ever. And by the way, even if you had done all of those things and he had have said yes, it would only have come with a yes with profound love that when you heard the yes and the love behind it, you would not have felt guilt. And that's the thing that we need to know, because there are people now who did do all of those things. And I remember when I was in India, I was talking with an enlightened guru, and I was saying about my connection with Jesus. And as I was saying that, a man walked past his door that I saw through the glass, and I went like this, oh, and he looked at me and he said, oh, and I said, oh, what? And he said, now I know why you did that. He said, that man was Pontius Pilate. And I had a visceral experience to just seeing this person walk past the door, not knowing why. And so it's really important for people to understand that you're going to meet people and cats, you're going to meet people, and they're going to be somebody that you've incarnated within the river of souls that we come through with, right? And so that's...
Sorry, I'm just going to put Max outside because he's just going to jump all over me.
Okay. Yeah. We're waiting for the cat to get exiled at the moment.
Sorry.
It's all right. So what I was going to say was that you meet people and you can have an experience of absolutely falling madly in love with them in the moment, or you can go, whoa, I don't want to know about this energy field, I'm not sure. And of course, all of this past life remembrance, even though we don't realize it, we're remembering the lifetimes and the events, emotions, and decisions that we've made with that particular person. And so what I've found, and I think you know this because you did a 3-day weekend with me in Melbourne, and what I've found over the 40 years plus of doing this work is that once we go back in and we discover those events, emotions, and decisions, we can, on a quantum level, change them so quickly that you can actually change your relationships. Because I know this is going to sound strange, but maybe not to your audience, but our past lives absolutely can mess up so many things. And that's why it's important to do the work around them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what I wanted to ask you about today is the various ways that you have experienced, that you have found profoundly changing for yourself and others, this infinite love, this divine love, and then of course human love. Those profound moments where you've experienced love in your own difficult moments or your clients' difficult moments, just some examples or stories of things that have stepped out for you.
Yeah, beautiful. Ever since I was a child, love has been the thing that's catalyzed me. Like my auntie said to me the other day, oh, as a kid, you were crying all the time. No matter who you met, no matter what was going on, you were the one that was crying, the only kid. And I go, yeah, because my heart was so overwhelmed with love for everybody that love brought up these human emotions. But I think my first full enlightenment experience was at the age of 18, where I was in the middle of my HSC exams, which in Australia we know what that is. And my right ovary burst, and I started dying, and so I was taken to hospital, and they couldn't find a surgeon for 9 hours. So really, I was practically gone by the time the surgeon came in, and I was in a full enlightenment, awakened state. I didn't know it at the time, but I was one with my mother crying in the hallway, every other patient in the hospital, all the nurses and doctors. There was no one that wasn't me. It was just, oh, here I am again. There I am. Look what I'm doing. Look what I'm saying. It was the most profound experience of oneness and understanding that it didn't matter who or what was happening to me. I was going on in all of these people. I was carrying on. So when the surgeon came in, and he was a very silly man, and he looked at my stomach, and I was 18. He said, oh, I hate to open this beautiful stomach. And I'm like, what? Anyway, I said to him, no, don't. I'm happy where I am. I was actually really happy knowing that I was dying in this beautiful experience of absolute profound love and oneness. It was my first time I'd ever really experienced love to that depth. And my mother almost started screaming. And I was 18, so I could have made that decision. But I thought, no, I'll have this surgery for her. because I loved her, and I knew I wasn't going to wake up out of it because I was practically gone. And I did wake up out of it in a trashed out, painful body, and I was so upset because that feeling of oneness and love had just disappeared in the body that was trying to survive what it had just been through. So that was one of the very first experiences of understanding that we are all one, and in that oneness we are all love, because you can't know yourself as another being and not love them. It's just impossible. I think another story was I was sitting at the lights, and I was looking over at the walkway, and this little kid was running across the road, and behind him there was this young woman striding across with long red hair coming out the back, and behind her was a little old man with a walker hunched over. And I looked at them, and I was them. I was like, oh, there I am. I'm running, I'm striding, I'm shuffling. And it was just all me again. And the profound love, I just wanted to get out of the car and go up and hold them, like, because I love them so much. And this has just been my experience of life, is that I can't meet somebody without loving them. Now, that doesn't mean I don't meet people that I don't like. I do meet people that I don't like, or I should say I don't like the way they show up in the world, right? So that's a bit different, isn't it? And so that these experiences of love have been very deep and very profound. And what I'm going through now at the moment, Katish, with a very sick husband, like Daniel has multiple myeloma cancer and Parkinson's, and he's in the middle of treatment that is knocking him around so badly. I think the treatment will kill him. I've got to stop it somehow. But I remember one night he had his back to me, and I just put my hand on his shoulder, and I felt everything ripple underneath my hand. Like I felt the pain, and he was asleep. Even in his sleep, the pain was rippling through his body. And it was like compassion exploded in my mind and my heart. I've always thought I was a compassionate person, but I had no idea what this was. It was, oh, the level of compassion I had for him, and then everybody else who was suffering, just overwhelmed me completely. Compassion and love, I have come to understand, are really two of the same things. Love encompasses so many emotional realities, because love isn't an emotion. Love is an energy, and it's the most powerful energy in the cosmos.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very hard when we have someone in our life who is unwell, and sometimes we can get back stuck into this, oh, woe is me, why is this happening to me? Like, we know our loved one, like my father was very sick with cancer too, and we think, why I need this person in my life, why is this happening to me? And you need to learn to feel that self-compassion for yourself. And that's one of the things that has been big on my journey, has been trying to understand, because I have spent the last 5 years being a ghost rescue medium and helping across some really convicted criminals who were executed for their crimes, that were located and did not move from jails that are nearby me. And at times it has been overwhelming for me. And why me? Why do I have to do this work? And the answer was, because you have these skills, because it helps with your own karma, and because it teaches you compassion for all human beings, because at the end of the day, they made a decision which led to a action in their life. It does not define their soul, but it did define their incarnation, and there is wisdom in that as well. So it's compassion in action is also very difficult skill that we need to learn to master for ourselves as well as others. But I know that your skills, when you met Daniel, the two of you magnified each other through the love union that you.
Look, it was a very interesting story. I was doing meditation and channeling evening in Auckland. So I'd gone to New Zealand to work, and my manager came in one day and said, "Oh, this American gentleman is coming tonight." And I thought, okay. And I was sitting up at the kitchen bench waiting for the whole night to start before people arrived. And I thought, this will be interesting. And I got, "He's for me. You're going to marry him." And I went, "Oh, no, God. You say jump and I say how high, and this is too high. I'm not going to leave my house, my car, my cat, my business, my family, and my boyfriend in Australia to marry a man I've never met and move to New Zealand or anywhere else." And he walked in and I thought, "Oh God, you've made such a bad mistake." He'd been on a vegan diet. He was so skinny. His hair stood up like Dagwood. He had glasses on an inch thick, not really, but, and I'm going, no. And so I just did the night, tried to ignore him. And at the end of the night, I just went up to him and said hi, because that's what you do. And the next night, my manager invited him to dinner. And then I got, "Oh, so he's going to ask you to marry him tonight." I'm going, "No, this cannot be right." Anyway, he did. He said, "I want to take you home and look after you for the rest of your life." And I was like, well, I said to him, "That's the best marriage proposal I've ever had." That was really coming from a place of love, right? Like, you don't want to do that to somebody you don't love. And 3 weeks later, we were married. I kicked and bucked and screamed and didn't want to do this. But the thing is, when God puts people together, it was like one of those relationships that it was a destined relationship for so many reasons. And I didn't know this, but Daniel had been married for 20 years and he was in what he called a dysfunctional marriage. And he used to, every morning when he was meditating and praying, he used to say, "God, I am giving thanks for your perfect divine love relationship for me." He said this is very important for everybody, by the way, who doesn't have a relationship. And he said, "I said it as though I already had it." This is Manifestation 101. I've got God's perfect divine love relationship for me. It doesn't matter who she is, what color, creed, anything. Your perfect love relationship for me is great. And one day, about a year into this, he did say, being a man, he said, "God, if she looks all right, that would be good too." And it was like, okay. But for him, he understood that led to his separation, to his divorce, and to meeting me. And he knew that I was God's perfect divine love relationship for him. He's never wavered on that. He's always known it. It took me longer because I didn't want to make the changes and do this thing. And plus, I'd already been in a marriage of 7 years, from 20 to 27. I was 45 at this stage, and I did not want to get married again. I had my life worked out. It was great. However, when God says jump, we are going to say how high. And that's how love can make things happen, that even when you don't want them to happen, love can triumph. And yeah, it was 27 years later. We're still together and much more in love than ever before. And this illness, and Katish, I do have to say this because you've worked with both of us, so you know how we work together. If we weren't on this spiritual journey and had the enlightened perspective that we had, and if we weren't able to stay neutral to what is going on, I don't know how people can actually get through this without this level of understanding, of joy, and of love, because that's the thing that is keeping us hopeful. It's keeping us together. It's actually growing the love. Now, I know that might sound weird because I've known a lot of people that go through this and they end up can't stand the situation or their partner or whatever. But for us, it's the opposite. The love is expanding every single day. And we're getting a bit silly with it because, and I will, if you don't mind me sharing this, for a long time, I'd ask Daniel, "How are you feeling?" "I don't know." "What would you like?" "I don't know." Because in that state that he's been in all the drugs he's been on, he's just been in a non-coherent state. And one day I was looking at the cats and the kittens on Instagram because I'm a massive cat person. And there was this little AI ginger kitten that came on, and the woman said to the kitten, "What would you like?" "I don't know." "How are you feeling?" "I don't know." "I don't know." And I'm going, "Oh, that's Daniel. This kitten is Daniel." And then she said, "What do you want?" And he said, "I don't know. I'm grumpy." And she said, "Why are you grumpy?" And he said, "Because I want chocolate." And Daniel's a chocoholic, right? So I just took this to Daniel. I said, "Daniel, this is you. Have a look." He could not stop laughing. And he said to me, "Yeah, it is me, isn't it?" And now we've got kitten talk. So just so you know, if you guys are going through a really rough time, meow means I love you. 3 meows in a row means I love you. And meow is just hello. And when we wake up in the morning, we look at each other and he goes, "Wow, meow," because he's so thrilled to be beside me. And I know this is going to sound crazy and very silly, but when you're in a really rough situation, find what works for you to bring you joy. Like when we do that, we can't stop smiling. And so there's a lot of things that we do to bring the joy and the love into expansion, into alignment with who we are. And so I'm just giving you a little bit of a heads up. I hope there'll be a lot of people meowing around the world right now.
And it's interesting because it brings back to your theme of cats anyway in Codebreaker, right? Your book.
Oh, exactly. That's right. Ego puppy is the part of us that really can piddle and poop all over us because it's our ego mind. It wants to keep us small. Ego mind doesn't really want us in love. And that's because we've had so many lifetimes where we've been hurt by love. And so the ego mind's going, "No, we won't do that. Let's not go there because we know you're going to get hurt or abandoned or left behind." And so the ego mind has control. But yeah, when you're not in the ego mind, you can then pursue your true self. And we look at the true self as it can be a cat, it can be whatever, but it's really fun to look at ways to discover where you're at in the world. Are you operating out of your ego or are you operating out of your true self? And you know the difference because your true self is always in a place of love, wisdom, divinity, and joy, whereas the ego mind is not in that place all the time.
No, that's right. Yeah. And you speak a lot about coming back to neutrality if you're experiencing the negative, to reset.
Yeah, the reset is so important. And you definitely experienced that in those 3 days. I was really so proud of you, sweetheart. And it's very much this. We're going to stay strong when we're neutral. We're going to go weak and into a place where we're triggered when we're not. So you have to ask yourself, am I being triggered or am I trigger free? Now, if you're being triggered, the exciting thing about that is you've probably got an unconscious program running your life. Now, what's really important, and most people don't realize, is that the unconscious mind is running our lives more than 95% of the time. That means that you think something is going on. You think that you're being triggered by this, but the unconscious mind's going, "Oh, no, it's over here. This is the problem." And I think that's why Jack Canfield and a few of the other transformational leaders that I work with say that I'm the woman who solves seemingly unsolvable problems, because I never ever work in the conscious mind. I'm not interested in the story. I'm only interested in what's behind the story, which we have brought through from our ancestors, this lifetime and other lifetimes. And then once we get to the core event, emotion, and decision, it's easy to neutralize it. And being neutral means being strong, right? I love it when people go, I test people when I'm talking to them all the time. Are you weak or are you strong? And I just say to people, don't let your ego get in the way when I say, "Oh, you go weak," when you say that, because people don't like to think that they're weak. It's not about that. It's about the excitement of finding the program that is running everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that I also found really interesting is that through this journey of helping people with their ego and with their emotions, you discovered a form of technology, which I believe you're wearing on your chest right now.
Yes.
Because it looks a little different than last time I saw you. They're much more sparkly, like a diamond now.
I'm a girl, so I'm not going to have them looking so completely bored with what they were. You're right. So that for 40 plus years, I've been creating programs that are shifting people into living a more a stronger energy experience, right? And so I would do what I do. And then I was introduced to the LifeWave energy patch technology. And I was finding that I would be putting these patches on people, and within literally a nanosecond, they would go to make a same shift or feel the same way energetically than after I'd spent time with them doing a correction. And it was like, oh, hang on a minute, what is this? Because there's a lot of skepticism around putting a little sticker on your body with nothing in it. Like
Yep.
nothing goes into the body. There's no drugs, chemicals. The only thing that goes into the body, which is similar to what I do, well, the same experience, is information. So it sends your own light and energy back to the brain with information, telling the brain, oh, hang on, let's change this now. You need help here. You're not, the body has been designed in a way that is so perfect. The body has been designed to self-heal. But we live in such a toxic world with so many toxic emotions that degrade our energy field, the amount of love we can experience, our alignment to source. So what these are doing is they're realigning us to source energy, divine energy, where the body goes, oh yeah, I remember this. I can do this. I can elevate glutathione. I can elevate carnosine. Oh, I can do these things. And the body does it. So when we're changing cellular structure on that deep energy level, for me, I'm like, oh, I say to all of my clients, hey, try them, just because they can't take me home, but they can take these home.
Yeah, that's right.
And what I love is that the amount of miracles that I'm having with the 2 lots of work, like right now I'm working on a program where I'm going to do an 8-week program that will combine the corrections that I do with the platinum process that you've been through, and the patches and the chakra energy system and a whole lot of other things, so that people can make a shift every single week for 8 weeks. But by the end of the 8 weeks, they're now showing up in a totally different frequency, and they can sustain it. They can sustain it with what they've learned. They can sustain it with the patches, because I think it's really important for transformation. A lot of people say that, and they go to a weekend and they feel a transformation, but it's not sustainable. So sustainable transformation, being able to sustain a frequency that manifests the life that you want, is really important. And to do that, you need to live as a very high frequency energy being. That's how people are attracted to you. And you've obviously living as a high frequency energy being, otherwise people wouldn't be attracted to you.
Yeah, yeah. And what's really important of what you're saying is it's that integration into daily life, because yes, we do get triggered by other people. We've got to come back to the neutrality. And then the patch technology that you worked with says to you, this is my way of putting it, I'm having a little wobble right now.
Yes.
I don't have access to my mentors. Please help me in this moment. Let me apply this technology. It's just reflecting my own light anyway, and I'm correcting the signal. So let me come back to peaceful state. That's how I would.
Oh, Katish, you've put that in a way that I've never heard before. How brilliant. Thank you. Because I know when I do my talks and everything, I bring people on stage with me. I give them a correction and everybody can just see the shoulders drop. They take a deep breath. Their body's already like this. And then when we go into another place, I can put a patch on them and they'll almost start crying in relief.
Yeah.
Because they go into that place that you just described. It's like, oh, I don't have to carry that around with me anymore. One experience was so beautiful. I was at an expo and this woman came up to me and she said, I've had the worst experience ever. She said, it's so bad. It's so bad. I can't even tell you how bad it is. She went on like that for 5 minutes. I said, okay, would you like me to give you a patch? Yes, but I need you to know it's really bad. And I said, okay. And I finally got her to just take a deep breath and I put a patch on her and she looked at me and she started crying and she said, oh, but it was bad. I can't find it anymore. But it was the worst thing ever. Now I don't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And right in an instant, she has been relieved of what had been torturing her for her whole life.
Yeah.
And obviously, for me, as somebody who came to this world to help end suffering, there's no way I could not start to share this. It's like a moral obligation to share a technology that does this. And that's why even in my 70s now, I'm still doing the work that I do and about to create a program where I say, okay, everybody, come here. I want to give you this. I want you guys to be able to do exactly what I do and become platinum coaches and certified platinum coaches, because there's only so many more years I'm going to be doing this, but it's a body of work that it's stayed the test of time, right? People who've worked with me for decades ago, and even Jack Canfield will still call me and say, hey, I'm going through this. What do you think? And I know that this work is as profound a body of work as anything on the planet. And so combine that with this genius who is David Schmidt. By the way, David Schmidt was Nikola Tesla in a past life. Isn't this, don't you love it when you do the past life?
I know we did actually think about this. I remember talking to you about that, and we said, I think he was Tesla. Yeah.
It's been confirmed for me. And because I said to him, he's become a good friend, and I said, David, who's your hero in this lifetime? I knew exactly what he was going to say. And he said, oh, that's an interesting question. He said, Nikola Tesla. I said, yes, of course. And because he's already doing what Tesla was doing, only of course now in this time, he's expanding on it and making it even more powerful. And he's still going through a similar thing. Like somebody who's created a technology like this is going to get jumped all over, and he does. And of course, the FDA, you know that something is really good when the FDA says you're not allowed to tell people what this does anymore. And I'm like, huh? It's got 200 patents worldwide that anyone can look up and see what it does. And he's got that many clinical studies, but they've said no. If I was to say this, what it does here, and you were to put this out there, it would be a problem. Of course, if it was not going out there, I would just tell you. But the thing is that only just happened when LifeWave came to this point where it was making over $500 million, because that many people were having miracles happen. And so that many people were buying it. And the drug companies are just, they're so greedy. They want to shut anything down. I know in Australia, they want to shut homeopathy down, all sorts of crazy things. And luckily here in America, that's changing now. And things are going to change, and it's going to get worked out, which is just a godsend for the whole of humanity.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also interesting because it parallels to the past life in terms of Tesla being suppressed anyway.
Exactly.
To me, it's a clear indication that he's come back to move forward that and through that. And that's the trajectory of humanity anyway, is that we reincarnate time and time again when an idea is not right the first time and it's still in our soul path. We come back the second time or the third time, and we perfect the communication. Things have changed. We bring in others with us. I know that I have, in my own experience, spent a lot of time looking at what I would call negative experiences of reincarnation. But what I've learned is that you can focus on the positive and see the same thing in a different light, and you'll realize the reason why that was so important to your soul and what it was that you were trying to shift or break down in humanity. And that we're trying to get to that place of coexisting together, to allow people with different belief systems to use both and or. Do you know what I mean? I can't even say it. homeopathy, essential oils, patches, Reiki can coexist alongside medical surgery and medical specialists and drug companies. It's where the soul is and where that incarnation is at in that point in time. They should all be allowed the option to choose what resonates with them. You know, I can see how that is really important for his soul, because it's okay, we have to come up against it again, but this time we're moving it forward, and those who are ready to use it will embrace it. You know,
that's exactly right.
It's just so clear to me.
I love what you just said. What I find interesting, and I think this is really helpful for people, especially when we're talking love, and that is, how do you love somebody with a completely different view to you? How do you love somebody that's on Facebook or wherever really saying the most horrific things? And the thing is that everybody has done everything. And I say this to all my students. We've all been there, done that. And people don't like that when I say it, but we've all been nasty. We've all been everything. We've all been raped, murdered. We've all done everything. And so to actually go to that place of judgment, come out of love and go to that place of judgment is a bit redundant, because it's like, there by the grace of God goes I, right? And I think that understanding that if you can maintain this energy field of love, you will have an incarnation that will serve you, and it will serve you into the next one, because your frequency and your consciousness is here where the love is, right here. And that frequency and consciousness actually comes through. We're always evolving out of where we've been into this newer version of who we are, which I find super exciting. By the way, Katische, Daniel and I are just besotted with some South Korean TV miniseries at the moment. And because I went there last year, and it was like, oh, I went there with the Patches, and they were the most amazing people and so open to past lives and spiritual things and everything. And I'm watching one at the moment, which I think you're going to love. It's called My 19th Life.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So anybody watching, if you're interested in past lives and how they can get so complicated and everything. And in this lifetime, she says, this is the problem with reincarnating too soon. And I'm just, Daniel and I are like, oh God, this is so good. So it's a fun Korean one, and anything like that you can watch. It does give you a beautiful insight into the reality of how our lives work. And
yes.
Have you read any of Seth's material, where there's a book called, what is it? Oh, sorry, just lost it. It'll come to me. But it's really fabulous, and it's about one lifetime where he comes back in 7 different bodies. So you think that you're here in this one body as your soul, but actually you could be on this planet in a few other bodies having other experiences at this Oversoul 7, it's called. And it's about his 7 lives. And oh boy, I read that maybe 45 years ago, however long it was, and it was such an eye-opener for me. It could be a fun one for you to talk about on one of your shows.
Yeah, it is. It's a reality, and I have discovered that myself and for clients of dual incarnations. For example, we've decided to play the same role in opposing situations in the one lifetime. I actually had an experience with a ghost that I crossed over when she was a plantation owner. She was white in one lifetime, and exactly the same time in the same location, her soul chose to be the black person. And the black person was the worker in the plantation, and she experienced the extreme brutality from her own self. And it was the plantation owner, the female plantation owner, who could not cope with the epigenetic behavioral patterns of her own ancestors that caused her to treat the slaves the way she did. And it was she, the plantation owner, who did not go to the light. And that was who I crossed over literally
Beautiful.
through the energy, but it taught me and confirmed for me, okay, now I understand that it's not only me that has had multiple dual incarnations, but there are other people, and it's not necessarily about contracts with other souls to forgive or repeat, but it's about finding the lessons and learning to love your own soul. So that's really interesting that you mentioned that. That's very interesting.
Yeah. And what I love about this conversation is we do make soul agreements via our ego mind, right? And via those soul agreements, it could be, I'll never love again. No one will ever love me. I'm not going to be good enough in this lifetime, whatever it is, right? I'm not good enough, by the way, is a really big one. I haven't met many people who haven't got that in their unconscious on some level. And a lot of people feel like they're a fraud even when they're super successful. And so for me, it's like undoing the karmic soul agreements, which you were talking about just then, and really just bringing in a brand new agreement. Wow, I am a perfect, divine, high frequency being, and I can trust it's safe for me to be in this world, to be seen, to be heard, to be known, and to really get to that point where they're no longer believing in the lies of the soul agreements that they made in another lifetime when they were probably under duress. Or if they, like that woman that you helped cross over, she was probably feeling like, I'm evil, I'm a bad person, I don't deserve to go home to God. They were all, I don't deserve love. There'll be all those things going on. But because you helped her through that, she probably won't come through with those same programs in this next life.
Yeah, and that's the blessing of it, isn't it? And
isn't it?
Is that, and especially when they're keen to talk to you from the higher perspective, and she brought in her higher self and her mother. So we had 4 sets of confirmation and perspective. It's, wow, this is a really privileged insight to be able to see all the forces at play, and how by simply, well, for me, it's about understanding human emotion and for learning to forgive your own self in the moment and bring yourself back to neutrality. Because I'm like, I literally am coached by Archangel Michael. He's like, remember, when you go this time, straight up with me, don't look down, don't look back. No matter who calls out to you this time, straight up with me. Yes, we've practiced it already. We actually had a drill. He's like, you're not going to regret anything this time, okay? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And that's really important to me, is so people understand they did the best they could.
Yes. Yeah. And it is only the sabotage of the ego mind that is telling people that they're not, right? And people become abusive for all sorts of reasons. They're scared, they've been abused, whatever. But the fact is that all humans really at their core are love, and the majority of them have forgotten it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And Sandra, do you still do the weekly meditations?
Not at the moment, but we are actually on February 20th. I am doing an 8-day reset with the meditations, with everything. I'll send you the information so you can give it to your audience. And we're giving away our meditations via links and things. And I think that I've given you a link to some of those free meditations now for you.
Yes, you have given me a link, which I will put in the show notes. And so you click on Sandra's name in the show notes, and that will take you straight to that free gift.
Yeah. Thank you, Katische. What an honor to be with my soul sister again.
Thank you. And the other book I have was in the ebook format, but for everyone, this is the Codebreaker journal, which accompanies the Codebreaker book that you can get to work along with Sandra and Daniel and their brilliance. And then obviously you can contact Sandra if you'd like to find out about her sparkly technology. I'll call it that. Sparkly.
Love you, sweetheart. Love to everybody.
Thank you very much. Namaste.
Bye now. Bye.